Hey there. So I wanted to talk to you about something that's been coming across my feed. Been wanting to talk about for quite a while now, and the reason why it's come back into like my mind's eye is because of the recent ruling by the Supreme Court to take away, to thin out, to negate the black vote. And I think about how it was very important for the Voting Rights Act to not only make representation vivid and relevant, not only for Black men, but for Black women, Hispanic women, men and women. And when I think about just trying to have access to the right to vote, I think about the important issues that we want to make sure that we have the representatives tackling. And as a Black one, obviously, I've had in my history, I've had experience with sexualization of my physique, my body, and the inappropriate nature in which some things would be said. And then I turn around, and my daughter, who's biracial, she experienced kind of a similar thing in high school. And what I mean by that, and why I think it is something that is important to discuss, is because my daughter was hassled by administration for what she was wearing because whatever, we're loose, they're fast, if they wear whatever. And but then I saw another young lady that was of a different hue that was wearing something. I mean, I was like, that girl was allowed to wear what she was able to wear. And my daughter was like, yeah, she had seen this young lady wearing stuff that was that bad or even worse. And you don't shame someone for what they're wearing, but you can, um, if you're going to say that something's not like appropriate school attire or whatever, you need to be even killed. You need to not make the young lady of color be the scapegoat. You just don't do that. Having young Black girls and teenagers and women feeling secure in their own like bodies and feeling safe and seen is it's really important to see elected officials that represent someone that you look at them and they could be your aunt, they could be your sister, they could be your mother, and you see yourself in these elected officials, whether it's a man or a woman, and that gives inspiration not only to little Black girls but little Black boys. So it's really important that we talk about what I'm going to talk about as the reason why this has become prevalent, because I think that this is really, really an issue. And I've seen this many times where um, there will be notices of a child missing. No, you're not going to be surprised when I say that it is covered very differently depending on race. There will be immediate advertisement going all over the media outlets. Oh, she's blonde, she's blue eyed, she's brown, brown eyed, but she's white. When they put out these things, they talk about all the positives of that family and they talk about the sweetness of the young girl. They talk about all of these attributes that make people want to look for her, to organize, to go like put out the hunt, to try and find clues, to try and bring this little girl home. But when it's a little Black girl or Black boy, the narrative shifts. It becomes about family, whether or not they were troubled in school, whether or not they had any kind of issues. It changes, and if you haven't noticed that, you're not paying attention because it does change, and that is maddening. Because a child is a child, no matter what race they are. Not giving it the same attention, it makes me angry. It makes me quite friendly, and it's wild because I tell you, try to remember a name of a young black girl that was missing, and you saw her all over the news. Try to remember a name, but I bet you can remember the name of a young little white girl that was missing because it was all over. Just that simple thing tells you something. Doesn't it tell you something? I'm gonna flash up some pictures or like an article from from Instagram. It's gonna come up here a face, and what's crack in America. I want to read to you a post that they had on IG. Let me put my glasses on. Okay, it says 34 missing black girls in DC. Where's the outrage? In the nation's capital, 34 black girls have been reported missing. Yet the national media remains largely silent, and no widespread Amber Alerts have been issued. Families are begging for attention. Communities are sounding alarms, but the rest of the country seems quiet. Why aren't these cases making headlines? Why are some children met with urgency and others with neglect? What does it say about our systems of justice, race, and media priority? Some argue it's a tragic reflection of how society devalues Black lives, especially those of young girls. Others question whether media bias or institutional breakdowns are to blame. This isn't about missing persons. It's about who gets searched for, who gets believed, who gets forgotten. I think that that says it all. And the thing about it is that all the people that are just railing, all lives matter, all lives matter, all lives matter. The thing about it is, we know our lives matter. But the thing is if Black lives have no value and if they're disproportionately targeted, if they are not getting the media coverage they should be doing, if they're being treated as lesser than, if they're being turned down for grants because they've searched it out and they're Black and they lose their grant, if they're building maps state going by the census that only tells you the race of the person, how many in the household, all of that. It doesn't tell you political party, but it tells you the race. When these things are happening, that means the value, the word, the relevancy, the existence of someone housing the same skin as me does not carry the same value. And these, starting off about these news articles and these children that are missing, these children, girls, there's even, I was reading, there's grown women missing. And the thing about it is that these families will see someone in the morning and not see them in the evening, and they will be discounted and marked as runaways. And guess what happens? It doesn't get the attention that it should because they're marked as runaways. Because what? They're Black girl. The Black woman, she must have run away. She must have some kind of like substance abuse problem, or she met a bad boy. She probably just got pregnant and wanted to leave because her family won't accept the baby. Some kind of ridiculousness like that. And so it won't get the attention. And these people, and this has been going on for a long time. And it's not just Black girls, it's Black boys. And the thing about it is now ICE is disappearing people. And this is not even necessarily ICE. It may be ICE, but I think that it's like, I worry that these people are being kidnapped and it's a new system of slavery. You remember back when the 13th Amendment, they were free unless they committed a crime, and then they would bring them back and they'd work the fields. That was the South's way around getting people to still pick cotton. So saying that all lives matter, you need to come with receipts because guess what? Everything is showing that not all lives matter. So let me read you another one. Now this one actually really pleased me, and this is in Atlanta, and black men stand up for 64,000 missing black women in America this year alone. That was in 2020. Think about that. If it was white women disappearing at this rate and at this number, do you think it would be not talked about? That they would not be railing and saying, we got to do something? Because you know they would. You know they would. But the thing about it is, I think it's happening to other races too. But it's happening more at addition. It's over 30% of the missing teens, girls, are black when they only make up 14%. We only make up 14% of the population, but over 30%. I think it might be like 34% of the missing girls, women. Think about that. Think about it. My God. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is there is a news, part of the news. It's Prosper Love put this up. And I should say from the last one, let's see, it was High Performing Mompreneurs one. That was who put up about the black men showing up. Now, Prosper Love, y'all, it's been thundering. So I hopped out here. I'm gonna lighten this up a little bit because it's a little dark out here. So okay, so this is where they're covering the 34 black and brown girls that went missing with barely a whisper in the media. Let's listen to it.
Teenagers have been reported missing. All of them black or Latino. These are just some of their faces we're showing. There was an emotional town hall last night. Members of the community spoke out, telling their city leaders they're afraid for their families because of what they view as an apparent spike in the number of missing kids. Sadly, though, for that community, the chief of police told the crowd that this is far from a new problem.
The disturbing fact is that we do have that many kids that go missing in our city, and it's been that way for a long time.
We're joined by Trayon White. He is the D.C. City Councilman for District 8, which is one of the areas where a lot of those kids are missing. Trayon, thank you, or Councilman, I should give you the respect that you're due, sir. Thank you so much for joining me. First of all, there's been some confusion about whether there has been an uptick in the amount of missing kids, or if it's that they are increasing the reporting of the amount of missing kids. Did you feel like you got some clarity last night?
I think there's both. I think there is more awareness of what's going on, and the presence of social media has made it more forthcoming so people can know what's going on. It's relevant information in a timely frame, but the reality is the numbers are just too high, and so we have to face the realities of fact.
They are too high. I mean, you look at 2,000 plus every year. That is, if it's one child missing, it's a frustrating and disturbing thing to begin with. Is part of the challenge in this the issue that it's how they're reported if the child is deemed a runaway as opposed to a child that has been abducted?
What we see is that not a lot of abductions that's going on. We see a lot of missing persons, mostly African-American girls. What the community is alarmed about, we had a 10-year-old girl missing the other day, but there was no Amber Alert. We just feel like, if this was a white person or from another neighborhood, there'd be more alarm about it. But this has been going on for quite some time with little to no press. And so we've used social media, got the community involved to get the word.
Something that you should realize is the fact that it is a black anchor. She has a black guest. And it should be on all the media outlets. It should be. Other people have covered it in their videos, but man, it's just not enough. One day. One day is when they all went missing. So do you think that racist white legislators are going to make this any better? It's a mess as it is. It's a mess as it is, and it's not going to be any better unless we have representatives that look like us. It's not going to be any better until our lives are seen as just as valuable. It's not going to change unless it's shouted from the rooftop, and even so, maybe not even then. Because what it's showing, truly what it's showing, is that they don't care. And that's a problem. Racism doesn't exist. You know we're talking about the US, right? USA? Try to tell that lie to somebody that'll believe you.